sun, surf, sand, seals, snow-capped peaks, sumptuous cuisine served in a stylish carriage, topped off with a ferry through an ancient river valley and across a treacherous sea strait. This has to be the supreme way to travel between two of New Zealand's biggest cities. Kia ora! Welcome to Christchurch, New Zealand, Aotearoa. Today we're travelling on the coastal Pacific. This train will take us to Picton, where we'll catch the Interislander ferry to Wellington, New Zealand's capital. And we're not travelling in just any carriage, but a brand new Scenic Plus carriage. This has been custom designed for these trains and includes all your food and drinks, so it's a premium service. Let's check it out. We're bright and early at Christchurch railway station, about 2 kilometres southwest of central Christchurch. This is the starting point for both the coastal Pacific and New Zealand's most famous train, the Transalpine. Our train is already on the platform. It looks like there are some school groups travelling today. Christchurch station opens at 6 a.m, with check-in and ticketing opening from 6:15 a.m. You need to check in for all trains operated by Great Journeys New Zealand. There's a dedicated check-in queue for Scenic Plus passengers, although given the light loading it doesn't matter much today. There are two classes of travel, Scenic Plus and Scenic. Scenic is more or less standard class, while Scenic Plus is the premium class. Each passenger can check in one large bag or suitcase weighing up to 23 kilograms, while Scenic Plus passengers can check in 2 bags. That's the new Scenic Plus carriage. We'll take a closer look shortly. If you're travelling on the connecting Interislander ferry like me, the crew will tag your bag through to Wellington. You'll be given a boarding pass with your seat number. The train doors open about 25 minutes before departure. Check-in closes 20 minutes before departure. All wheeled cabin bags, large bags, backpacks and suitcases need to be checked in. Our loco was built by General Motors Diesel in Canada in the late 70s or early 80s. It was rebuilt in the 90s. You'll often find these locos hauling coal and freight trains. Today's train comprises a baggage car, the kitchen car where meals for Scenic Plus are prepared, the Scenic Plus carriage, a cafe car which also contains wheelchair spaces, 2 standard Scenic Class carriages, and an open air car on the rear. Here's the timetable for today's journey. Christchurch is New Zealand's second biggest city and the largest on the South Island. Christchurch railway station opened in 1993. It is the third Christchurch railway station, but the first on this location. Both previous incarnations were located on Morehouse Avenue, with the 1960s station dismantled after sustaining irreparable damage during the 2011 earthquake. The new Scenic Plus signature carriage designs have won gold in the spatial design category in the Best Design Awards. The striking motif features a coiling bird. Good, how are you? The crew will welcome you aboard. That's where they prepare the food. I really love the LED lighting. There are 56 seats in this carriage, arranged in groups of 4 around tables with white linen. Most passengers on the coastal Pacific travel southbound beginning in Picton, so there's only a handful of passengers today on our northbound service in Scenic Plus. There's no overhead storage in this carriage. This ensures the views from the upper windows aren't obscured. I appreciate the attention to detail with the table setting, such as the flowers and chilled water. The team leader, Stacey, introduces the crew and the carriage.
So the carriage that we're in at the moment, there's a little bit of a story behind it. It is quite new. So you would have noticed on the outside it's a little bit different to the other carriages. So black and white, it's got Manu eye, which is a bird's eye, which is our company emblem.
The food and wine is sourced from regions along the route. It's a degustation menu. There's Wi-Fi on board and an app with information about our journey. we're offered hot towels. As every passenger is checked in and on board, we depart a couple of minutes ahead of schedule.
Alongside your comfort, your safety is of course our number one priority. Located at the rear of each passenger carriage behind the large blue doors.
The Coastal Pacific heads up the main North Line, covering a distance of just under 348 kilometres in 5 hours and 40 minutes. We'll have a 10-minute stop in the coastal town of Kaikōura, which is roughly halfway to Picton.
Please enjoy.
Thank you very much. Starting the day off with a latte. Cheers.
Good morning, ladies and gents. We do have quite a number of empty seats available on the train today. So if you do wish to change seats, please just check with your crew member, but we should be able to do our best to accommodate any seating requests this morning. Just speak to myself or any of your crew here at the cafe.
We're traversing the suburb of Belfast, named after the city in Northern Ireland. We're about to cross one of the largest rivers in Canterbury, the Waimakariri. It flows for 151 kilometres from the Southern Alps across the Canterbury Plains to the Pacific Ocean. The name comes from the Maori words wai, meaning water, and makariri, meaning cold. An almond croissant with raspberries. It's warmed. There are USB-A and USB-C charging ports between the seats. Rangiora is a town in its own right, but is classified as part of the Christchurch metropolitan area. No passengers are booked to join us here, so we don't stop. The humble origins of the Main North Line began in the 1870s, with the railway reaching north out of Christchurch into the rural countryside to provide easy transport for the farms and rural industries located on the Canterbury Plains. Spanning a colossal 200 kilometres from north to south and 70 kilometres from east to west, the Canterbury Plains are New Zealand's largest expanse of continuous flat land. An audio commentary is available through the Great Journey New Zealand app.
Welcome to the Coastal Pacific, one of the most picturesque great train journeys. Meander along the stunning Pacific coast of Te Waipounamu, New Zealand's South Island.
In the distance to our west, we can see the start of the Southern Alps. Now that we're well underway, let's look at some of the seat features. There are armrests between each seat. There's individual reading lamps. The tables, they have a little fold in and out mechanism, so you can have a bit more space to get in and out of your seat. Those are the main features. The Waipara region is known for the production of Pinot Noir, Riesling and Chardonnay. With high temperatures and low rainfall, the valley is home to more than 26 wineries and 80 vineyards. The crew come around with a drink service. It's never too early for OJ and champagne. Cheers. The app will send you notifications about points of interest. The app also features an interactive route map. You can see our elevation and speed.
Our driver Scott just needs to get in touch with train control to get a track warrant, which is a written authority to proceed. We'll be on the move in just a couple of minutes' time.
Breakfast is served. It's a mustard and herb agria potato hash with smoked salmon, poached egg and hollandaise sauce. Bon appetit! Great presentation and flavour. We parallel the Huranui River. The river has rapids rated Class 2 and 3 on the international scale of river difficulty and is popular for kayaking.
The Huranui River is about 145 kilometres long and begins on the main divide of the Southern Alps, Ka Tiritiri o Te Moana, and flows eastward to the Pacific Ocean.
I think it's time for a wander through the train. There are fresh glasses here in case you need them, and some magazines. So there's an area here where jackets can be hung, and I presume this is for bags, etc. Let's check out the toilets. Welcome to the Scenic Plus bathroom. Unlike the others, it's in this black colour which matches the carriage overall, the outside in particular. Standard amenities. See, we've got our toilet down here. And we've got some air freshener here to keep it smelling nice. And there's also baby change table. Let's go for a wander through the train. First we have the cafe car. This is where you find the wheelchair spaces. For a closer look at food options, check out my video on the southbound Coastal Pacific in Scenic Class. This is the first of 2 Scenic Class carriages. I just got recognised by a British couple who are travelling here after seeing my videos. Welcome to the Coastal Pacific open air carriage. You can smell the diesel fumes back here, although we are at the back of the train, not right behind the engine, so it's not too bad. Obviously this is the best place if you want to get photos and a bit of fresh air, excluding the diesel fumes. It is quite loud back here. We've got the whole carriage to ourselves at the moment, although there is a limit apparently of 20 passengers in this carriage at any one time. We're heading northeast, edging ever closer to the coastline for which this train is best known. Without a doubt, this is my favourite place in the train. It can get a little cool, so make sure you bring a jacket. Although today's not too bad, I think it's around 18 degrees, so I can survive in just a long sleeve shirt. Our first glimpse of the Pacific. It's hard to tell where the sea ends and the sky begins. Gotta love a wave from a local. And here's the coastline after which this train is named. There's a black sand beach here made from eroded volcanic material. The nearest landmass from here is the Chatham Islands, more than 800 kilometres away. The coastline draws people to the open air car. Keep your eyes peeled for seals. The train enters the first of 19 tunnels we'll traverse today. The cost and difficulty of building these tunnels, combined with 2 world wars, resulted in the railway taking more than 70 years to complete, the longest railway construction project in New Zealand's history. It can be helpful to have earplugs as it gets very loud, particularly going through tunnels. This bluff is a significant paleontological site and was a major fossil collection site in the 19th century. This viaduct creeps up on you as it's hidden by trees. Arguably the best way to see viaducts is from the surrounding landscape. Straight after the viaduct we enter the Amuri Tunnel, the longest on the route. And now comes the stunning backdrop of snow-capped peaks against the ocean. The Kaikōura Ranges are two parallel mountain ranges separated by the Clarence Valley. From the coast we see the seaward Kaikōura Range, which runs for 96 kilometres. There's also the longer and loftier inland Kaikōura Range. Both ranges started to emerge from the sea about 30 million years ago. This process is still active and is shown by the presence of active faults which hug the southeasterly and consequently the steepest flanks of these ranges. We hug the coastline, the tight curves keeping our train's speed restricted. It's time to spot fur seals. The best time to see New Zealand fur seals is between October and March. Between October and November, it's ideal to see breeding colonies. These are the views that give the train its name. The coastline might be stunning now, but in 2016 this was a scene of devastation.
What's going on? A 7.5 magnitude earthquake. It was only 15 kilometres deep.
Dozens and dozens of slips along the way. We saw a couple where the slip had come down and pushed the railway track all the way across the roads.
Kiwi Rail has closed down all its services in the South Island, so there will be no trains running.
That is definitely at the scale that we had with the Christchurch earthquake. And as you can see, there's still aftershocks going. So as we send our staff out to inspect, we've got to bring them back.
Rebuilding it is going to be the biggest job in the South Island since we built the main North Line at the end of the Second World War.
Ruptures occurred on multiple faults, lasting about 2 minutes. The earthquake has been described as the most complex ever studied. It took 9 months to partially reopen the line, and another 12 to complete repairs to the railway and nearby State Highway 1, which you can see now, so they could fully reopen. You've got to keep your eyes peeled for more seals. These guys look like they're having fun. There's so many of them. This is just getting silly. Sorry, dad joke. These enclosures protect the railway from landslips. Another view of the seaward Kaikōura Mountains. The highest peak is called Manukau and rises to 2,608 metres. Let's head back to our seat. And in the cafe car, we have the lift equipment which allows for accessible boarding of this train, which is in this carriage, and that's where the toilet is as well. Morning tea is served. We're now coming into the popular tourist town of Kaikōura, a hotspot for whale watching and swimming with dolphins. This is roughly the halfway point for the rail part of our trip. The area is also known for its crayfish. In the Maori language, kai means to eat, kāura means crayfish. The railway station houses the town's whale watching centre. The train is scheduled to stop for 10 minutes, but as we're running about 5 minutes late, we'll have slightly less time today. A quick look in the kitchen car where they prepare the meals. A few passengers leave the train here. Another look at our loco. We have a change of drivers here, and the crew have brought them some fresh coffees, and we've got about a 5-minute stop so we can stretch our legs and take a look at the views, which are spectacular. Kiwi Rail's Hutt Railway Workshop in Wellington renovated 3 standard Scenic Class carriages over 3 years, transforming them into these premium carriages. The carriages were introduced in 2024. Time to go! We run alongside Kaikōura Beach. Once again, we parallel State Highway 1, which is 2,006 kilometres long, running the length of both main islands. And of course, there are more seals. They blend so well into the rocks. This is a crayfish and lobster cafe. If you like fresh seafood, then this is a coastal drive worth doing. The fence here is designed to protect the railway against rockfall. Are you sick of seals yet? So whereas the Transalpine has 2 open-air carriages, one dedicated to Scenic Plus passengers, the Coastal Pacific only has the one. But it's not really an issue because there's not as many passengers on board, so as you can see, there's plenty of space. The Papatea Fault runs through this area. The 2006 Kaikōura earthquake pushed rocks near here up out of the sea, lifting them more than 6 metres. The earthquake uplifted this section of rock by 2 metres, leaving the reef that had been here high and dry. In this photo, you can clearly see where the fault cut through the road and rail line. And here you can see the uplift 1 week after the earthquake. The escarpment has significantly eroded since then. And here's another example of the devastating impact the earthquake had on the railway in this area. More than 12 kilometres of track needed rebuilding, and 5 kilometres of track was realigned following the earthquake. The Clarence is the longest river in both the Canterbury and Marlborough regions, reaching 209 kilometres or 130 miles from the Spencer Mountains to the Pacific.
To the west you may see Tapua e Nuku, known to the locals as Mount Tapi. It's the highest peak in the inland Kaikōura range at 2,280 metres.
The Coastal Pacific takes 5.5 hours to travel just under 348 kilometres, giving us an average speed of 63 kilometres per hour. But there's no rush. This journey is about savouring the views. Around here we cross from the Canterbury region into Marlborough. The railway line from Picton in the north first reached Whanganui in 1915. World War I and the Great Depression meant the main North Line we're travelling on wasn't connected to the line from Christchurch until 1945. We leave the coastline here. The southbound journey is generally more popular than the northbound one, which means this space feels very exclusive. Did you know sheep outnumber people in New Zealand by 4 to 1? The country is home to almost 24 million sheep, compared to 5.3 million people. This lake is very shallow at under 2 metres deep. It has no permanent inflow or outflow and sometimes dries up in summer. Back to the open-air car, ready for one of the final key sites on the main North Line. Strong winds, sunny weather and low rainfall in this area results in high evaporation rates, ideal for salt production, which is what you can see here. Seawater from the Pacific Ocean is pumped into Lake Grassmere. Warm northwest winds blow across the lake, evaporating water and increasing the concentration of salt. The salty water is pumped into holding pens, then into shallow crystallisation ponds. The pink to purple colour of the crystallisation ponds is caused by natural microscopic green algae that change to pink in the high salt concentration. The same phenomena gives the Red Sea its name. The saltworks opened in 1943. More than 60% of New Zealand's salt production comes from here.
As we're approaching Blenheim, we're going for a Sauvignon Blanc, which comes from the Marlborough region.
The train is now climbing towards the town of Seddon. I think these are deer. The town of Seddon has been close to the epicentres of several significant earthquakes. It's home to just under 600 people. We're about to cross the Awatere River. The river follows an active fault of the same name. The bridge we're traversing dates from 1902, and for many years was both a road and a rail bridge, with cars travelling on a wooden deck below the railway. The bridge's completion was the cause for major celebration. The day was declared a public holiday in Blenheim, and 1,500 people travelled for free to Seddon for the opening. A huge thanks to Jay for these drone shots. Be sure to follow him on Instagram for great railway imagery from Australia and New Zealand. A new road bridge opened in 2007 and the old vehicle deck was decommissioned. The vehicle deck was restored and reopened for cyclists and walkers in 2023 as part of the Whale Trail. Lunchtime.
Flavour.
You okay for drinks at the moment?
Yes, thank you.
Good. That was that's a spare one. There's two different varieties.
Oh, that's a different variety.
Yeah, so that's the Mount Riley.
Yep.
And this is the Tohu. So we were curious to see which one you like the best.
Okay, that's good to check. And the staff have actually given me two different Sauvignon Blancs to compare different styles. This one to Mount Riley, which I think's right. Let's try this one. Yeah, that's, I guess, some more traditional Sauvignon Blanc.
Our train will pass Mount Riley wines on the way into Blenheim.
Initially, I wasn't sure about the Mount Riley, but with the food, it works really well.
In the distance, we can see Cook Strait. Marlborough is New Zealand's largest wine growing region, producing about 3/4 of the country's wine. It's most famous for Sauvignon Blanc. There are more than 30 cellar doors you can visit. The first commercial vineyards were planted around Blenheim in 1973. Blenheim is the hub of the Marlborough and the region's largest town. It's known for being one of New Zealand's sunniest spots. You might spot some tracks and a platform here. That's a narrow gauge heritage railway, Blenheim Riverside Railway. Blenheim railway station dates from 1906. However, the building was moved 40 metres eastward in the year 2000 to make way for State Highway 1. Originally, 16 of these beautiful buildings could be seen along New Zealand's railways. The station is now home to a wine tasting venue.
I seem to be collecting glasses, but it's not as bad as it looks. Still water, sparkling water.
Time for my favourite course. The Wairau River stretches for 170 kilometres from the Spencer Mountains. Its lower reaches and the surrounding fertile plain provide the basis for the Marlborough wine region.
Let's give it a go. It's good. Chocolatey, but not too rich. Truffle's really good. That definitely is rich. Nice, velvety, rich chocolate. Just what you want.
Para wetland is the largest remaining lowland freshwater wetland in Marlborough. It's a major wetland for fish and game. Bonus, this is a chocolate fish, a Kiwi classic. There's marshmallow inside.
Far away now from our final destination. We'll be arriving into the Picton station in around about 10 minutes or so, folks. If your bags have been checked through to Wellington, that means you should have received a purple luggage label and a smaller stub of check-in. The purple tags mean that they'll be transferred onto the Interislander ferry this afternoon.
So how much does this train cost? The typical fare in standard class or Scenic is $275. Scenic Plus is basically double that, but it includes all of your food and drink, as well as the premium carriage, priority check-in and a bigger luggage allowance. Great Journeys New Zealand occasionally offer sale fares, particularly on the northbound journey. The Coastal Pacific does not run during winter, with services stopping in late April and resuming in September. The small fishing town of Picton is best known as a transport hub connecting the South Island to the north via ferry. Trains have served Picton since 1875, initially running to the river just north of Blenheim. So would I recommend taking this train in Scenic Plus? Yes, it's expensive, but it's an indulgent but joyful splurge. The service from the crew was superb. Picton is home to just under 5,000 people. The railway station is conveniently located near the ferry terminal. One of the Inter-Islander ferries was rail-enabled, so that wagons could easily be transported between the islands. However, that ferry was retired in August 2025. 2 new, larger rail-enabled ferries will be introduced in 2029. We arrive 5 minutes ahead of schedule. For passengers not connecting to the Inter-Islander ferry, luggage is available at the front of the train. The loco will run around the train ready for the return service to Christchurch, departing in about an hour. A final look at our premium carriage. Picton is known for its scenery. Picton's first station was built in 1874 when the port was becoming important for freight. The current station dates from 1914. When you step off the coastal Pacific, it's a 100-metre walk to check in for the Interislander ferry to Wellington. So after stepping off the train, you just need to check in here. They'll give you a boarding pass. Got mine here. Says 2:15 ferry, and we need to be back here at 1:15, ready for boarding. So we've got about 30 minutes to spare here in Picton. When Marlborough was established as a province in 1859, Picton enjoyed a brief stint as its capital. In case you can't tell, it's quite blustery today. That's our ferry, the Kaikōura. It's the largest ferry in the Interislander fleet. Meanwhile, the loco has been put on a turntable and is now ready to haul the coastal Pacific back to Christchurch. But we can't hang around, it's time for us to board. I believe these walkways, made from shipping containers, are temporary and will be replaced before the new ferries enter service. All up, the walk is about 400 metres. We're now on one of the ferry's vehicle decks. There are two companies operating inter-island ferries, the government-owned Interislander, which we're using today, and the private company Bluebridge. We have to climb from deck 5 to deck 7. There are lifts you can take if needed, and passengers who require assistance should let the customer service team know before boarding. Hello. As you can see, the ferry has 10 decks. We'll check out the viewing deck in a moment. This ferry features 2 cafes and an eatery. This is the Island Bar and Cafe. Here's the lookout atrium and the view from the top deck. There's the coastal Pacific heading south again. It's also time for us to depart. Let's find out a bit more about our vessel. The Kaikōura was built in the Netherlands in 1995. As the largest member of the Interislander fleet, it can carry up to 1,000 passengers and 600 cars. It has about 60 crew. It started life as the Isle of Innisfree, sailing between Holyhead and Dublin for Irish ferries. It was refitted in 2002 for P&O Portsmouth, becoming the Pride of Cherbourg, and in 2005 became the Stena Challenger. Kiwi Rail chartered her later that same year. The name Challenger was translated into Maori, Kaikōura. After leasing the ferry for a number of years, Kiwi Rail purchased it outright in 2017. We'll spend 2/3 of the trip navigating the scenic Marlborough Sounds before emerging into the Cook Strait, a rugged channel where two seas meet. The 93-kilometre journey to New Zealand's capital, Wellington, will take about 3.5 hours. Tory Channel is one of the drowned valleys that form the Marlborough Sounds. The channel is up to 65 metres deep, that's 213 feet. Imagine living here. Seems idyllic. Many houses in this area are accessible only by boat. King salmon have been farmed in the Marlborough Sounds for more than 25 years. Salmon are hatched in fresh water and then transferred to the large sea pens you see here. The winds on the top deck are reaching up to 50 knots. Check out the colour of this water. There's one of our sister ferries bound for Picton. This is the Kairahi, which means guide or leader. The Kairahi is a lot smaller than our ferry, accommodating 550 passengers, pretty much half as many as us. This is our ferry, the Kaitaki, in roughly the same spot from a previous trip. Back on board, we're approaching the entrance to Cook Strait. The strait links the Tasman Sea to the west with the Pacific Ocean to the east. The entrance can be treacherous at times, but looks fairly calm today. And with that, we're into open waters. In the distance, the west coast of the North Island comes into view. The winds on the top deck today reach up to 70 knots. That's 130 kilometres an hour. The strait is 22 kilometres or 14 miles wide at its narrowest point. It's been described as one of the most dangerous and unpredictable waters in the world, but I think we'll be okay today. The strait is named after James Cook, the first European commander to sail through it in 1770. Those are some of Wellington's southern suburbs. That's the Aratere, which was Kiwi Rail's only rail-enabled ferry. This means rail cars can be shunted directly onto the ferry. She's been retired since this was filmed. It's been sold for scrap. That means rail freight has to be transferred to trucks and driven onto the current ferries and then transferred back onto rail. The New Zealand government is ordering 2 new ferries to replace the current ferries, both of which date from the 1990s. The new ferries will have rail decks but won't be in service until 2029. There are 2 lighthouses here. The upper one, Pencarrow Head Lighthouse, dates from 1859. Its first keeper, Mary Bennett, was the first and only female lighthouse keeper in New Zealand. This cluster of rocks is one of the most hazardous reefs in New Zealand, Barrett Reef. A long list of vessels have been damaged, stranded or wrecked here. This is just a handful of them. The most significant was the TEV Wahine.
The inter-island ferry Wahine founded off Port Dorset with 744 passengers and crew aboard.
It remains New Zealand's worst maritime disaster, with the loss of 53 lives. We're now in the inner harbour. We can see some of Wellington's affluent suburbs. The harbour provides sheltered anchorage in a region where wind can exceed 160 kilometres per hour. There are 20 wharves situated around Wellington Harbour. The main port here records about 14,000 commercial shipping movements per year. So how much does it cost to travel on the Interislander? At the time of editing, a one-way fare for a foot passenger starts at 80 New Zealand dollars. That's for the cheapest fare type. There are also extras you can add on, such as lounge access, or you can book a cabin. Welcome to the Kiwi capital and New Zealand's 3rd largest city, Wellington. Wellington is the world's southernmost capital city. There's a diesel-hauled train from the Wairarapa line. These diesel-hauled trains are scheduled to be replaced by new battery electric units from 2030. We say goodbye to our ferry. There's a free shuttle bus to Wellington railway station if you need it. This is the departures terminal for foot traffic. We have this very temporary looking luggage collection spot. The terminal is being upgraded, ready for the introduction of the new ferries. From Wellington, you can catch the thrice weekly Northern Explorer to Auckland. The 681 kilometre journey up the North Island takes almost 11 hours but offers more spectacular scenery. And just like the Coastal Pacific, it has an open-air car. If you want to help me make more videos like this one, support the channel by becoming a channel member. You'll get early access to videos and other perks. Follow the link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. You can also splurge on Scenic Plus if you want an all-inclusive dining experience. Welcome to Auckland. After a really enjoyable trip in Scenic Plus. It's a very relaxing, slightly indulgent way to travel. Worth spending a little bit extra if you can afford to. But equally, if you can't, it's just as good travelling in the scenic class down the back right next to the open air car, which is probably the highlight of these trains. Hope to see you next time.